Hello, good people. How's everyone doing today? I hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that you are blessed. Y'all here with another video, and today, as you can see, I'm in my kitchen. Talking to you from my kitchen and not some random place in my home with my seafoam green background is because we're going to be talking about food, health, weight loss, weight gain, PCOS, and even more specifically, my journey with all of those things, and even just some of the things that I'm feeling tonight. So what kind of inspired this video has been multiple things. I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was 16, which stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I've just been on this quest for holistic health for the past few months. I would say I started a couple years ago with trying to take weight loss seriously, but I've had my struggles, my constant struggles. But somewhere within the last year, and probably sometime after last summer, definitely in the fall, I just decided something has to change. That no matter I'm really going to try to make it through this video without crying. That no matter how hard it is, something has to change. That I'm either going to be healthy or I'm going to actually die trying. And that there is not another option. But it took me a very, very, very long time to get there because the road is tough and it's hard. So even tonight, what really inspired me tonight was that I've had obsessive thoughts about food tonight, and I've racked my brain of, well, I can eat something good and it doesn't have to be something bad, but I can eat something good and because I feel hungry or I think I'm hungry. But I had to think about it, and the reality is I had a tough day. I've had a tough week. Not a bad one, but a tough one. And even last night, I had some cereal with oat milk. And I finished a box of cereal that I've had for months. So that's a good thing, too. And it was Cocoa Puffs. I love chocolate. And it gave me a little bit of a chocolate fix. I had one bowl of cereal, like I said, with oat milk, so I didn't feel so bad about it. And I ate well yesterday. I had good meals throughout the day, though I did have some M&Ms and 2 Girl Scout cookies. But I just needed some chocolate. Yesterday I was incessantly hungry. I don't know why, but I didn't like that feeling because one thing that God has delivered me from is emotional eating. And so today, when I really felt the urge to eat tonight, I said, I'm just going to drink some water. And I still have about 3 more bottles to go before I go to bed. But I did not eat, and that is massive for me. No, I'm not anorexic. No, I'm not eating, but I find that part of my controlling the urge to emotionally eat is when all I can think about is eating. I have to not eat because it's just kind of an act of defiance to my former self. I'm gonna cry. I decided that I'm gonna be better, that I'm gonna be healthy, that I'm gonna be whole, and I'm believing God to help me with this, and He is helping me. I think the reason why it's so emotional is because weight, anyone who's overweight, it's a terrible prison. And I think for women especially, there's those thoughts of like, even if you like aspects of yourself not feeling attractive, feeling like people are going to judge you, feeling like people think bad things about you, and just a whole bunch of emotional mess. But then I'm also like so grateful to be where I am right now, and where I am is in a hard place, but it's more than motivation. It's just the choice. It's the choice to change. No matter how hard it gets, the choice to change. And that's been consistent for me at least since November, thank God. So kind of backtracking, I was diagnosed with PCOS when I was 16. Like I said, that stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. And I have it with insulin resistance. And so I'm going to try to find a very simplified way to put it. Some women, it's called polycystic ovarian syndrome because poly means many. Cystic, cyst, ovarian, your ovaries, and syndrome because not everyone who has PCOS actually has cyst on their ovaries. I'm one of those who does not, which has been confirmed even as of last week. So I got diagnosed with this syndrome, and how I got diagnosed was I went to a private high school where you had to play a sport every semester. So I was exercising 6 days out of 7 because I had games on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I had practice Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. The only day I didn't work out in some capacity was Sundays, and even then I grew up in a Pentecostal church, so that's a workout. And so I had hit puberty, and I remember I was never a huge child. Like I was big baby, but I wasn't a huge child. I was just kind of normal, solid. And I remember as a child going to the pediatrician, and the pediatrician saying, like, don't worry about your weight, like you're a little bit overweight, but when you hit puberty, you're gonna lose your baby fat. Well, I remember other girls my age, girls I went to school with, we all, a little bit on the thick side, and then we hit puberty and they got thin and I didn't. And I was just kind of like, well, what the doctor promised me didn't exactly happen. And then, like I said, by the time I got to high school, I was gaining weight while being very active. So my doctor was like, you know what, I think you should go to endocrinologist. And they did blood work, and I had to do a glucose tolerance test, which is where you drink this really nasty drink and you get your blood drawn once an hour over the course of 3 hours. And then they measure how your body tolerates glucose. And that was one of the things that contributed to my diagnosis of PCOS. So basically what happens for me is that my body does not convert glucose into energy. So basically sugar in my body does not take the sugar that is in my body and absorb it into my cells to then be converted to energy. And so what this leads to is an excess amount of glucose in my body, and in order for my body to compensate for all this unused glucose, so if I ate pizza and someone who didn't have PCOS ate pizza, their body would ideally take the sugar, from the carbs and convert it to energy in their cells. My cells won't let all the glucose in or all the sugar in. So then what happens is my pancreas produces more insulin, which is what kind of controls your sugar levels. I'm trying to put it as simply as possible. So my body produces so much insulin trying to manage my blood sugar levels, my glucose levels, because glucose is just kind of like floating around. And that unconverted glucose turns to stored fat. And so I have insulin resistance because my body is pushing out too much insulin to try to balance out the sugar levels. When you have too much insulin in your body, it affects your hormones. And for women, it causes you to produce more male hormones than female hormones. So I have higher levels of testosterone in my body as well. So what this leads to is undesired hair growth in undesired areas, areas more typical for a man. So I do get chin hair, and I literally never thought that I would speak about this, but I had a friend who I haven't talked to for years, and I was thinking about her earlier this week, and the next day I was just thinking about her. It was actually, I think, her husband's birthday, and that might have been part of the reason why I was thinking about her. I saw it on social media and was like, oh, I wonder how so-and-so is doing. Well, the next day after I was thinking about so-and-so, she messaged me about knowing that I've spoken about PCOS before and have been a little bit open about my health journey and just wanted to talk. And she and I haven't really connected about it yet. But that's another thing that inspired me to speak about it, because so many women are told you have PCOS. Actually, I believe 1 in 10 women have it. And honestly, I got diagnosed when I was 16. I'm 29. And from that moment, no one has ever tried to help me manage it. Now, I was told, lose weight, exercise, you can go on birth control. Those are the things that I was told to try to balance out, my hormones. And I was also told you can see a nutritionist, and basically you can't have white anything. Everything has to be brown, right? Well, telling that to 16-year-olds is not exactly effective because you already have identity issues. So just being hyper focused on needing to lose weight and exercise, I was like, I am exercising, so what else do you have for me? So that didn't really help. So I spent years being angry that I knew I had a condition that made me gain weight. I wish I had the mindset I had now 50 pounds ago. But I can't go backward. I can only go forward. And leaving out certain gaps, and maybe I'll come back and talk about my PCOS journey another time, or really just PCOS in totality. There's other things like it can cause infertility, and just a whole host of other things, basically all the way brought down to the hormone imbalance. So I've tried to lose weight in the last couple years for probably the next 10 years after my diagnosis. I'd have spurts of maybe like exercising a little bit or doing Whole30, trying to be low carb, but nothing kind of stuck because I was so angry, and I felt like the diagnosis was so unfair, and none of my very close friends are overweight. Or maybe some are technically overweight, but none are obese. And I spent a lot of time being jealous. I spent a lot of time being sad. I spent a ton of time being angry. I even spent some time probably kind of hating, if not hating God, definitely hating the body that He gave me. And it shackled myself, and it stopped me from getting to appreciate how amazing of a person I am. Not to sound cocky, but I'm not a perfect person, but I'm fun. I'm fun. There's a lot of things that I not only like about myself but love about myself. And with that in mind, I had to acknowledge that if I loved myself, I needed to treat myself better. And that I wasn't going to love myself until I did. So I've lost 30 pounds since November 1st. And one thing that's new for me is, sorry y'all, I always seem to get an eyelash when I'm talking to you. Okay, I'm back. Eyelash gone. One thing that is new for me is, now I lost my train of thought. It must have gone away with the eyelash. It'll come back to me. Oh, one thing that is new for me that I've started experiencing in the last 2 weeks is an anxiety about gaining weight because my weight fluctuates so easily. But I've had to tell myself, you know what, Danielle, like, do the proper work and your body will thank you. Don't stress, because that increases cortisol levels, which is a steroid, which does not help because that increases your blood sugar, which is exactly my problem. And I also decided, like, I'm going to advocate for myself. I think if I wasn't a registered nurse, I probably wouldn't have that mentality. But I was just like, enough is enough. Like, yes, I need to lose weight and exercise. But now that I've lost 30 pounds on my own, not exercising yet, which I need to, but, you know, I'm trying to do what I can do. But, you know, now that I've proved to myself I can lose weight, though difficult, I can, I will. I just have to be disciplined and I have to be consistent. I decided I want to go back to an endocrine. And I had an endocrine early college, so like 2010, 2011, 2012. But he was consistently running behind. I went to school in Boston. Then I transferred back to school in Connecticut, but I was still about an hour away from my endocrinologist. And like I said, he was an hour behind every appointment. So if my appointment was for noon, even if I purposely showed up at 12:20, I would not get seen till 1 o'clock because he was consistently running behind. So I just kind of got discouraged with that, and I was like, whatever, bump this anyway. I was on metformin for a little bit, got threw that away. I was stupid because I was like, it's going to be a sign of faith for God to heal me. Now, I believe in God healing. I believe in divine healing. I don't believe that God told me to stop taking my metformin, but basically, I wanted the easy way out. I wanted a way where I didn't have to do anything. And that's just what's not my fault is my responsibility. We get what we're dealt, and we have to live with that. So I've since gone back to my PCP. I will tell the story about that another time because that can be 10 minutes on its own. But I told them basically, listen, I want an endocrinologist and I need a pelvic ultrasound. And my PCP was like, well, when's the last time? This was the first time I had seen him, by the way. You know, when's the last time that anyone did a pelvic ultrasound? And I told him how a coworker of mine who's a sonographer and who's been a sonographer for 30 years, you know, kind of did a crude one just to like take a look around that particular day while I was at work. And he was like, I'm not talking about your friends at tech somewhere. When have you had one that was read by a radiologist? And I said, the last time was when I was 16. And he kind of looked at me like he couldn't believe it. And I was like, basically, dude, that's why I'm here. Like, nobody, it's when you have PCOS, they're just kind of like, you really need to lose weight, you really need to exercise. Okay. Newsflash though, how that happens for everyone is different. Everyone's metabolism is different. And PCOS, women with PCOS have terrible metabolisms. Not all of us, but a lot of us do. Which is why a lot of us are overweight, which is the hormones. It's like just this vicious cycle. And I had been saying how going gluten-free might help, going dairy-free might help. But long story short, he gave me a referral to the endocrinologist. I got a pelvic ultrasound. I still don't have cystic ovaries, but I have all the symptoms. I have all the syndromes. I am fortunate enough to be one of the women who tends to get regular menstrual cycles. Why is that such a big deal? Because if you are not ovulating, you won't have a menstrual cycle. And if you're not ovulating, you can't have children. So I have good hopes for my future fertility when that's a factor in my life. Though it is not at the moment, but then the last few months, my body's just been different. But I've kind of attributed some of that to my weight loss. So it's just been a grueling few months. As you all know, I'm a master's student. I'm a nurse supervisor. I'm a homeowner. I work a second nursing job, and my car got hit by my neighbor. And that's also another story for another time. So I've had to get a new car. So I have a lot of like genuine stressors in my life. But I also have genuine grace because God is good. But kind of all that being said, I also hit a point where I struggled with anxiety and depression, and definitely depression. And that was hard because in my mind I was going, I have no reason to be sad, but in my body it just felt destroyed. I felt depleted. And a lot of that had to do with my weight, and some of it had to do with my eyelash fell in my mouth. Some of it has to do with my PCOS and extreme fatigue. There's so many layers to it, and I'm trying to make this video short. So the long story short, you have to start somewhere. If you're another woman who struggles with PCOS, or there's a loved one in your life, you know, if you're a husband to a woman who struggles with PCOS, you know, I'm feeling the call to be more open and honest about my weight loss journey. I had to wait till I was confident enough in myself to speak about my weight. It's going to take a whole other level of confidence to actually disclose pounds, but I can at least share, like I said, what I've lost. I'm at a very critical time for myself because the most weight I've ever been able to lose when trying is 30 pounds. And I'm exactly 30 pounds lighter than my heaviest weight. So that's another reason why I was like, I cannot eat tonight. I can't have an indulging time because I have goals, and I will say that I'm over 200 pounds, and my goal by my birthday is to be 199.9 or anything less, you know, and I have some ways to go until I get there. So I have until July. That being said, if I'm consistent and I am trying and I do not meet my goal, I'm okay because I'm going to be closer to it than I am right now. My last roommate who lives with me is getting married this weekend, and I'm freaking out about fitting into that dress. I am. So even this week, I've felt stressed because I'm like, what if that's a different type of anxiety? So I've been praying. I've been trying to be disciplined, but that stressor alone has actually triggered me wanting to eat. And I had to realize that and just not just delayed gratification, but like survival. Like, I'm gonna die. God forgive me, but I'm not gonna die. But I cannot imagine what would happen if I can't fit that dress. So I know exactly what weight I need to be to fit it, and that is what I am working toward. And then I go on vacation next week, which I plan to hopefully share with you all. But all that being said, I was really hoping I could make this video a lot shorter than what it is. But PCOS is a part of my life that I am no longer avoiding talking about, that I am no longer trying to pretend like it doesn't exist, but that I am also no longer making excuses for or allowing it to be the silent reason why I'm overweight and accepting that. Like, it is the reason why I'm overweight, the initial one. And then being overweight even more, I developed an emotional eating problem due to feeling sorry for myself for being overweight and also just not feeling good. And I've been delivered from the emotional eating, but that doesn't mean I don't struggle with the thoughts or the feelings. That is a place that I never want to go back to. And even if I don't feel, even if stopping emotional eating is not going to just like cause a 50-pound weight loss, what it's going to do is help me not gain weight, and it's helped me change my mentality around food. And at another time, I will talk about all the different programs that I've tried. But ultimately, like I've said before, there is no magic pill. You are the magic pill. Jesus is really the magic pill, but what he gives to us in resolve and determination is really what makes the difference. So I've decided that I am not going to get down to a goal weight and then behave like I'm that goal weight. I have a goal in mind and I choose to behave like that now. And that's how I'm going to reach my place of ideal health, is by behaving like the person that I'm going to be. And in addition to this, I I've always had honest prayers with God, but I've had to have different honest prayers with God. I've had to pray about things that I've chosen not to pray about in the past. I've also gotten myself a therapist. I am also taking care of my mental health in other ways, and I'm being gracious with myself, and I'm choosing joy. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Just know if you are in a similar situation and you want to compare notes, but just kind of share the health journey, I'm here. I definitely can use someone to talk to about these things, because I really, in this regard, feel alone. Though I know I'm not alone because the Lord always has me. But, whether you come on the journey with me or not, I'm going, and there's no turning back. So remember that God loves you. I love you too. And